On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
Different financial, contractual, health, decision-making abilities that you cannot get if you do not have a marriage contract with the state. Don't ever let nobody lie to you and tell you otherwise.
You know what, Anton, you're right.
You said that there were no legal benefits.
Crimson, you know what, Anton, you're right. There are a bunch of things that automatically get taken care of if you're married, right? You married, like all these things get just automatically under that umbrella. But what Crimson asked, I believe in, because I mean, just culturally, in terms of my dad and my, different things, I know that you can be married without certain things. So
why did gay couples fight so hard to be recognized by the state and as far as marriage?
And then once properly vetted, then we can start talking about emotions and love and all of that stuff. So I don't even give myself the opportunity to be falling in love with someone that isn't meeting where I need to be in terms of the business aspect of marriage, which is like, I've literally gotten out of a relationship with someone because I didn't like the way that they handled their business when it came to the way that they managed their income, or the way that they managed their relationships with people, or just handle their business. I didn't like it because I was raised in a way where there's structure, and we don't wait till the last minute to do stuff. We don't pay late fees for stuff. We do stuff at the beginning. We make if I need to call them and make a payment plan, I work it out with them. I do, you know what I'm saying? Like I handle my stuff. So if you don't handle your stuff, that's just an example, but like, I think that you should do all of that stuff in the beginning to make sure that you're on the same page with someone before we're even talking about love. Like, why are we talking about love? You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much how I go about it. But I do think that once I've vetted that man and I agree with his vision, then I can get on board with it in the love and in the relationship and actually do things to support it. But I'm not going to be disingenuous and say there isn't a particular way that I live. I'm used to living a particular family life I come from, and what I want to maintain. Different things I want to have the resources to be able to do with my kids, things I want to be able to provide them. So no, I'm not just going to say, oh, he's spiritually great and, he's a good person. And those things are great. But there's also people who are spiritually great and great people who also agree with what I agree with in terms of how I want to raise my family and where I want to be at and how I manage my resources. So, I said a lot, but I think I said quite a bit.
That was a good answer, Kayla.
Go ahead, Kay. You want to follow up with that? Marriage being a business, and how do you separate the two if possible?
I mean, I understood what everyone was saying, and I think that it is correct, from my experience and
what's correct
observation. Like Crimson said, like, no, it's not a business, but then she went on to provide the context. And then Kayla said, like, I think that it's just complicated. There's a lot that you have to think about in terms of it. I don't think that the blanket statement, marriage is a business, is necessarily doing the institution of marriage a justice. Because if you are in a marriage and you are, I don't think necessarily it's a business, but some parts maybe.
But you have to handle business in the marriage. That's when you become a unit. They have the authority to handle your business.
I agree with
your life.
There's a lots of legal things that are tied up in marriage, right?
Yes.
So that is a business aspect. But in terms of like the marriage itself, I mean, I think it's just so complicated. I'm not mad at anybody who says it's a business. I'm not mad at anybody who says it's not, like, because there's so many aspects of marriage to me. I mean, my observation, whatever.
All right, brother.
I think I got.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Crimson.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Because it might veer us off. So if Anton wants to answer, I don't want to.
No, go ahead. If we veer off a little bit, then we can get right back on track. No biggie.
So
go ahead and cook it. You can do your thing.
Any of the ladies would agree to get married without going through the state.
Oh yeah. I think marriages
just like a spiritual thing.
Yeah, just you're married, no state, no. We're not going to the justice. We're not signing no marriage license, none of that. But we are married, and we're going to live our lives like a married couple.
I personally find those marriages completely viable.
No, it's not happening.
I think those marriages are completely valid, 100%.
Okay.
It just depends on the people.
Kayla, you said it's not happening. Why?
Do your thing, but it's not happening. You're not gonna be having me in your house like your wife if I'm not. I mean, the Bible says we should obey the law of the land.
Well, then
if this is the law of the land,
that brings
and that's the marriage license process. That's the law of the land. Then that's what we adhere by. And first of all the benefits that come with it. I'm about to be married to you, and then still paying the government extra for being single. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing not having the same name as my family and my kids. I'm not doing not having access if something happens to you. I'm not doing someone else getting to decide what happens for our family, or the court getting to decide.
All those
because when you're not married, the court can come in
all those
and dictate what happens in your family life. When you're not married, the court can come in and dictate what happens in your family life.
All of those things can be done through a contract between you and that person without the state.
It cannot. It absolutely cannot. The Army does not recognize your spiritual union. The government does not give a piss about what you feel like. You cannot get health care coverage for your spouse if you are not married in the eyes of the state. There is over 1,100 benefits that come along with being married. You cannot invest in a Roth IRA on behalf of your spouse that may or may not be working. There is so many different financial, contractual, health, decision-making abilities that you cannot get if you do not have a marriage contract with the state. Don't ever let nobody lie to you and tell you otherwise.
You know what, Anton, you're right.
You said that there were no legal benefits.
Crimson, you know what, Anton, you're right. There are a bunch of things that automatically get taken care of if you're married, right? You married, like all these things get just automatically under that umbrella. But what Crimson asked, I believe in, because I mean, just culturally, in terms of my dad and my, different things, I know that you can be married without certain things. So
why did gay couples fight so hard to be recognized by the state and as far as marriage?